Previously, I posted a video of a few players who may have been injured or struggled this past year that I still believe can be good baseball players. And although it has taken a while for me to make, today I want to do the opposite. There are some players in baseball that are performing well, and I don't believe it will continue like that in the future years. Now, this isn't a video displaying all the players I personally hate. I like some of these guys, but unfortunately, I don't think they will perform well or as well as they are right now. Let's begin. Brayan Bello had a very solid year with a 3.35 ERA in 166 innings with 124 strikeouts in 2025. 2025 was his best year in his career. But truth be told, I don't think this success will last, and I really never believed in Bello in the first place. Bello was signed in 2017 and appeared as a top 5 prospect in the Red Sox system in 2022, with his fastball and changeup being his best pitches. Bello got early comparisons to Pedro Martinez as he threw a solid fastball with a gross changeup, and he is a somewhat smaller pitcher. But this comparison always rubbed me the wrong way, and I think set Bello up for failure as it set his sights way too high. In 2022 and 2023, Bello's changeup was by far his best pitch, but his fastball and breaking balls got hit hard often. In 2025, his fastball has been his best pitch, while he's only been throwing his changeup to left-handed hitters, and it hasn't been very good at all. The main thing that I struggle with Bello are his control and whiff issues. Bello walks a fair amount of batters, not a crazy amount, but a fair amount. What does he need to do to stop this walk problem? Well, he needs to throw strikes. But then there's a problem with that, is that hitters don't swing and miss, also known as whiff, at many of his pitches. So Bello's best bet is to be a ground ball pitcher, which he was good at this year, but he is still getting hit really hard. This goes back to my video on whip. On average, in his career, Bello is allowing 1 1/3 runners per inning. This is concerning. If Bello is getting hit decently hard, doesn't get any swings and misses in the zone, and he walks people often, then how is he going to prevent base runners? I worry about the ability of Brayan Bello to keep people off the bases, and because of this, I don't believe the success he is seeing will continue. I think the Red Sox adding Sonny Gray and Ranger Suarez into their rotation was a smart move, because by no means should Bello be a 3-starter in a rotation. I'm sorry, Mr. Bello. I just spent a lot of time on a Red Sox player, so I feel it's only right to put a former Blue Jays player out there. And unfortunately, that player is Chris Bassitt. Bassitt is still a free agent as of recording this, and frankly, I really hope that a contending team doesn't think this guy can be a top 3 in their rotation next year, because I think that'd be a big mistake. I really like Bassitt. I like his attitude, I like his ambition, but his pitching style is just not for me. In 3 years with Toronto, Bassitt put up a 4.6 WAR, a 3.89 ERA, and 520 strikeouts in 541 innings, staying healthy the majority of his tenure with Toronto. These are solid numbers. Bassitt eats innings and provides value to a team, but he can't be a guy who is expected to start important games. This is because Bassitt's best pitches at this point in his career are his breaking balls. And what is it that pitchers do with their breaking balls? They try to get swings and misses. But players aren't chasing Bassitt's pitches outside the strike zone, nor are they swinging and missing inside the strike zone. And it's not like his fastball can improve very much more, or he can develop a new pitch, because he has almost every pitch known to mankind. Bassitt will be an innings eater who doesn't give up hard contact because he has so many pitches, but unfortunately, he still gives up a good amount of base runners, which makes his future in the league concerning. I really do like Chris Bassitt, but I also hope he finds his way to a different team. Thanks, Chris. I'm staying sort of on a theme here with Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon, unlike Brayan Bello, doesn't walk many batters. He throws a lot of strikes. My main issue with this is the fact that when he throws pitches in the zone, he doesn't get many whiffs, like with both Bassett and Bello. Taillon's 3.68 ERA in 129 innings pitched is very solid from the right-hander, but I have a small issue. Unlike Bassett and Bello, Taillon doesn't get many ground balls. Taillon throws primarily four-seam fastballs up in the zone and pretty much down the middle of the zone. This leads to a lot of fly balls and not ground balls. So this makes me question two things. What is his home run per 9 innings? Because this will tell me if his fly balls are going for outs or going out of the ballpark. And is he getting assisted by the Chicago winds? Well, Taillon had a 1.7 home runs per 9 in 2025, which is a career high. And he had a 3.05 ERA and 9 home runs given up at home versus a 4.20 ERA and 15 home runs given up on the road. This tells me that although he threw less innings at home, Taillon is more than likely having fly balls die at home more often. I personally don't believe that giving up a lot of fly balls in Chicago when the wind is unpredictable is a good thing. I think the Cubs have done some good things with the rotation this offseason, but it is still very weak. And Taillon, although a pretty good 5-starter, is still a weak point in their already weak rotation. The Nationals were a team that many thought could make a large step coming into 2025. They had a solid core of Gore, Wood, and Abrams, and had just traded for Nathaniel Lowe. But things didn't turn out well for the Nats, and they have just had a complete change in organizational personnel, with a new manager and new president of baseball operations. Unfortunately, I have some disbelief for America's capital, as one of their core players in CJ Abrams is someone who I don't really believe in at all. Abrams in 3 full seasons as the National shortstop has put up 10.1 WAR, with a 249 average, a 736 OPS, and 57 home runs. This sounds very solid, but to be honest, I'm not exactly sure why his baseball reference WAR totals are so high. Abrams is a slugger. He hits for extra bases often and steals bases at a good rate, but Abrams doesn't get on base as much as you would like with a .310 on base percentage in that same time frame. Abrams also strikes out a lot and is routinely the worst defensive shortstop in baseball. Now we must understand a bad defensive shortstop is more valuable than a bad defensive first baseman, or a good defensive first baseman in that case, because shortstop is still a premium position. But a shortstop who can't play defense is also very detrimental to the team overall. Either way, a bad defensive shortstop who doesn't get on base often, although he's a constant stolen base threat, and has a Baseball Savant page that routinely is blue in every category, I don't know if I trust Abrams to get better, because he really hasn't shown improvement year over year. Sure, the counting stats look somewhat better, but the underlying stats say he isn't doing anything different. I am sure CJ Abrams can be a pretty good player, stealing bases and hitting somewhat above average, but I don't think he can stick as a shortstop long term, and maybe moving off the position would do him some good. Recently, the Nats turned down a package from the Giants that was headlined by MLB's number 44 prospect, Josué Gonzalez, which I think was pretty dumb by the Nats here. With that trade price being high, I hope nobody has expectations that their team will acquire CJ, because I don't think you will be very impressed by the results. The final player of this video is another pitcher. I apologize for focusing mainly on pitchers. It just so happened that I feel strongly about pitchers over hitters as of now. Nick Pivetta has had his best season by far in 2025, with a 2.87 ERA in 181 innings pitched with 190 strikeouts. If you look back at what his years in Boston were like and the years before, Pivetta never had an ERA below 4 in a single full season of his career. So naturally, I wanted to look if anything on his Baseball Savant page has changed, and lo and behold, not really. In fact, Pivetta's expected ERA was more than a whole point higher than his actual ERA at 3.99 expected. Expected ERA takes batted ball data hit off of Pivetta and predicts his ERA based on what previous balls hit like those hit off of him have done in the past. Now, this extreme difference in Pivetta's ERA and expected is obvious when you look at how hard he is getting hit. Pivetta is below 20th percentile in barrel, hard hit, and ground ball percentage, meaning hitters are barreling and hitting Pivetta's pitches hard and in the air, which traditionally fall for extra base hits or go for home runs. This is nothing new. Pivetta is known for giving up a fair amount of home runs, and I'm really unsure why he had such a good year and didn't give up as many home runs as expected. Let's just look at his heat maps. Pivetta throws a rise fastball in the heart or the top of the zone and throws his curveball pretty much everywhere in the zone, with his sweeper doing basically the same thing as his curve. If we look at Fangraphs Stuff Plus metrics, the only pitch that Pivetta has thrown this year that is above average is his sweeper, his third pitch. This means that taking into account how his pitches play off each other, only his sweeper is good. So this thing where he throws high fastballs and tricks batters with curveballs off of it is not really that effective. This is very concerning for Pivetta and the Padres. Pivetta is pitching to hopefully get one more big contract before retirement, but based on his pitch style and what seems to be luck, I don't think he can sustain his success. The Padres have been shopping Pivetta, which I believe is the right move, but can they afford to lose any more arms in that lackluster rotation? They barely have any starting pitching as it is. Now I want to point out one last thing as a sort of caveat. Pivetta threw a total of 5 split-finger fastballs this year. I'm unsure if this was intentional or StatCast just read the spin of a certain pitch as a splitter when it was not intended to be, but this is interesting. Pivetta has absolutely no off-speed pitch. If Pivetta can develop a splitter or changeup, I think I'd rather a splitter so he can throw it to both-handed batters. I think he can be a good pitcher next year. An off-speed pitch would open up a possibility for Pivetta to get weaker hit balls put in play and more ground balls. It would also open up an opportunity for him to start throwing fastballs at the low part of the zone, not just up. I think without a good off-speed pitch, Pivetta is a high 3s, low 4s ERA pitcher. But with an off-speed, he could very well continue his success going into 2026. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I apologize for the wait. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. If you want me to make another video like this, possibly with prospects, let me know. Have a good day.